Hello, my fellow makeup enthusiasts. Welcome back to my perfectly healthy expression of makeup enthusiasm. My name is Lainey and I love makeup. A little too much. But if I'm being honest, I love a lot of things a little too much. For example, Game of Thrones, coming back this Sunday for the final season, and in conjunction with the final season premiere of Game of Thrones, we have the release of the long-awaited Urban Decay for the Throne collection, and I will be talking about that a little bit later on in this video. In addition to Game of Thrones and makeup, I love video games. Most of all, I love Borderlands, and we just got a trailer for Borderlands 3 coming out Friday the 13th in September of this year. Borderlands 3. I am over the moon excited about this, so let me know in the comments if you love video games. Most of all, let me know if you love Borderlands, because if you do, we gonna be friends. So enough talk about dorky stuff, let's talk about makeup. For this video, I'm going to be talking about the makeup that is on my mind. I am not the type of person who gets on trend mood and either swipes right or swipes left and then makes a video about it. I do get on trend mood, but it's not my primary source of makeup news. I don't know if I have a primary source of makeup news. I'm also not the type of person who gets really snarky about the very idea of an upcoming release. I only get snarky when I see something and I think it looks beautiful and I like it enough to buy it and I get it and it sucks. Then I will get snarky. But if something looks boring or if something looks stupid, that doesn't make me mad. That's just not my personality. I watch a lot of videos where people get really snarky about new releases and I think it's funny as hell, but that's just not me. So I'm just gonna do me and talk about the makeup that I have noticed, that I have purchased or that I want to purchase, and we're going to start with Colourpop. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Sweet Talk palette. This is not a new release. This came out about a month ago. I bought it about a month ago and I just haven't been filming that much. My dad has been in the hospital for 6 weeks. He just got out. Things are better, but things are still a little bit bizarre. It's still a little bit stressful, and I handle my stress by buying makeup. So this was a stress reliever for me. This palette is beautiful. It retails for $18. You've got some nice shimmer shades, you've got plenty of mattes, and you've got these two gorgeous pressed glitters. And we're gonna be talking about those a lot more. But the first thing I wanna say about this palette, as beautiful as it is, I get fall vibes from this, not spring. This was released as a springtime palette. I call bullshit. It's fall. And for me, that's great. I prefer fall and winter to spring and summer. But I mean, look at this. This shade right here, this is Pumpkin Spice Latte. These mattes on the bottom row, these are Autumn Leaves. Let me see if I can successfully swatch them. No promises. Yeah. These are autumn shades, and I love that. And guys, even as I'm filming this, I realize that the editing is gonna be super choppy. Please forgive me, I'm a little bit rusty. Hopefully I'll be able to film more consistently here in the next couple of weeks, and I'll get back up to where I was, which wasn't very high, but it was better than this. So just forgive me. So the next point that I wanna make is about the pressed glitters. I am not a pressed glitter fan. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't. I always loved the idea of pressed glitters in theory, but in practice, I found them kind of uncomfortable. They were scratchy, they irritated my eyes, they didn't go on well, they were very patchy. But these, they're fantastic. So let me try to swatch them. As you see, I tried and failed to film this once before. There we go. There we go. Look at these beauties. Now, when I first decided that I was gonna get this palette, I got it in spite of the pressed glitters, not because of them. But now, these are my favorite shades. I wore this palette for about 2 weeks on end, and the reason I kept reaching for it is because of the pressed glitters. I just love them. And as soon as I realized how much I loved the Colourpop pressed glitter formula, I was like, Colourpop, you gotta come out with some single pressed glitters. You got to. And they did. I always forget to mention what I'm wearing on my eyes because I feel like my makeup never really reads on camera. But for what it's worth, I'm wearing this palette today. I'm wearing the Wet palette on my lower lash line. I was going for kind of a glam grunge look today. My hair is in a transitional phase, so I'm trying not to really put any heat on it or damage it any more than I'm about to damage it, because I'm about to go from red to purple, so that's gonna damage it. So I'm trying to give it a break, and as a result it looks like crap. So I was like, well, let's just embrace it and go grunge. And actually this palette kind of works for a grunge look. At least I think it does. I don't know. So let's go ahead and talk about the new pressed glitters that came out last week when these babies dropped. I had the Colourpop website open and I was just sitting there going refresh, refresh, refresh. And then as soon as they dropped, I grabbed a couple of shades that I thought were pretty, I threw them in my cart, and I placed an order. So I can't remember specifically which ones I ordered. It'll be kind of like a mystery box. And let's see, what else did I get? I also got the cream gel liner set. The set I think is called the Beat Drop. They have a pink, an orange, a lime green, a yellow, and a white. I love Colourpop's cream gel liner formula. Currently I have Piggy Bank, Puppy, Prance, and Punch. So for some reason I had a P theme going on with my cream gel liners. These shades are actually called something different. I can't remember exactly what they're all called, but I will talk about that when I do my unboxing. In addition to the pressed glitters and the cream gel liners, I got some Super Shock pigments. I love the Super Shock pigments. The Super Shock shadows are kind of hit or miss for me, but I'm realizing that the ones that I have that I love so much are the pigments, and these are all pigments and they are neon, so I'm gonna have so much fun with these. The only thing from the festival collection that I passed on were the pressed shadows, and the reason I passed on those is because this from last year on Valentine's Day, SUVA released a collection called La La Land. I did a video on that if you are interested in that. It's actually better than the videos that I've been doing now. Anyway, these look pretty similar to the new Colourpop pressed shadow shades, and so I went ahead and passed up the pressed shadows. And speaking of SUVA, let's talk about Rose Period. That's right, I bought it. This is the SUVA Rose Period palette. In a previous video, I was calling this the Rose Rag palette because I'm goofy. I did not mean any disrespect when I was calling it Rose Rag. Rose Period is actually after a Picasso painting, and I knew that, but Rose Period, I'm sorry, it sounds like that time of the month. It's so pretty, but I was saying I don't need this because I have this. This is the Ace Beaute Blossom Passion palette. I felt like these were really similar when I just saw the pictures of the Rose Period. They're not. See? Not similar at all. This is a lot more vibrant. It packs a lot more of a punch. This is much softer. It creates a more romantic look. When I first got this palette, I have to admit that I was disappointed. This is not the typical SUVA eyeshadow formula that I know and love. It took some getting used to, and also just the looks that you can create with this palette are much softer than the vibrant looks that I'm used to creating with SUVA shadows. But I want to do a dedicated video to this palette because it really is pretty, but it really is different. In fact, this is different from anything that I have in my collection, so I am super happy that I actually have this, that I can reach for this when I need a softer look. I don't have a lot of shadows that can create a softer look, and now I do. As promised, I did film a full review of the Ace Beaute Blossom Passion palette. I even put on makeup on camera, but as I was editing that video, that was when my mom called and said that my dad was going to the hospital. And so I just have all of these negative connotations associated with that particular video. So I need to refilm it and kind of rewrite that story and make it a happy narrative. So let me pause for a moment and talk about my ever-changing taste in eyeshadow palettes. For the longest time, I only popped a makeup boner for purple palettes and rainbow palettes. Nowadays, I tend to pop a makeup boner for palettes that include corals, pinks, and purples, like this palette. What is this, you might ask? Is it a Colourpop palette? It looks like a Colourpop palette. No, it is from a brand that I had never heard of called RINCON. Have you heard of this palette? Because I haven't heard anything about this palette, but it looks really pretty. Can I justify it? Hell no. Do I want it? Kind of. It does retail for $32, which sounds expensive to me because I'm used to paying like $16 for a Colourpop palette of this size, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Would you be interested in seeing somebody talk about this? Because I'm kind of willing to try it out. But let's talk about what led me to this photograph in the first place, the actual Tarte Sugar Rush collection. So I bought the little mini set, including the makeup bag. The makeup bag is super cute. I have some thoughts. So the first thing that I got was the Cake Butter body lotion. This smells great, but it smells like a stripper. Let's be honest. This stuff smells a little bit on the cheap side. It smells good. It smells sexy, but I don't always want to smell like this. Like, I would not wear this cake butter to work because I smell like a stripper, and I don't want to smell like a stripper in front of the juvenile delinquents that I work with. And then I also got the lip gloss. This is the raspberry flavored mini size. It smells like raspberry candy. It has a nice flavor. It has a nice feel. It doesn't last very long. Would I repurchase a full size? Probably not, just because I'm very saturated with lip gloss type products. But if you are looking for a nice, great smelling, great tasting lip gloss, this is totally worth it. And then I also got the body spray. What is this called? Sugar Spritz. This stinks. This really fucking stinks. It smells like a haunted house after they've had a bachelor party there. Does that make any sense? It smells musty, not musky, not sexy, musty, like an old house, but then it also kind of has that stripper smell as well. It just fucking stinks. I do not like this at all. But the rest of the collection that I have tried, I really like. The crowning jewel of the products that I've tried, however, would be the blush. This is fabulous. I got the shade called Beaches and Cream. This is a cream blush. If you don't like cream blushes, you're not gonna like this. This costs $15. I feel like it was well worth it. It's pigmented, but not too pigmented. I have it on already, so I'm not gonna put any more on top of it, but I just put it on with my fingers. That's how I like to apply my blush. I've always preferred like cream blushes or cheek stains to powder blushes, and this is right up my alley. It's in a little seashell case. It gives me mermaid vibes. I love this stuff. Staying on the Tarte train for a couple of minutes, let me talk about some Tarte products that I did not get. So first of all, we have the Turtle Palette. I call it the Turtle Palette. I think it's actually called High Tides and Good Vibes. I thought that this looked pretty, but I found myself more drawn to it after I used the Colourpop Sweet Talk palette and realized that I love pressed glitters. So I went to Sephora, I met it, I didn't go home with it. I don't know, I liked it fine, but I didn't love it enough to fuck it. And I think the reason I didn't want to go to bed with it is the same reason that I'm gonna go ahead and pass on the Icy Bitch palette, Icy Bitch. It's very blue. And now, the only blue palette that I have is the Colourpop Wet Palette. This is really pretty. I really like it, but I rarely reach for it unless I'm using it as eyeliner. I love the idea of blue eyeshadow, but I never end up wearing it. I shouldn't say never. I rarely end up wearing it. I use it as eyeliner, but I don't wear it as shadow. And as much as I really like this palette, I just don't reach for it. I almost decluttered it, and I'm glad that I didn't because it makes for a great liner. But the Turtle palette and the Bitch palette, they're very blue. And so I just can't justify it because as much as I'm drawn to them, I know that in reality I probably won't use them. And so that brings us to the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. For the same reason that I'm passing on the blue toned Tarte palettes, I'm going to, for now, pass on this palette, even though that Blue Monday shade gives me a raging boner. That is my kind of shade, that bluish purple. Oh, it looks so pretty. But the main reason, this is so silly, but the main reason that I feel like I want to hold off on this palette is because the shape of the palette, the color and the shape of it, makes me think of my grandmother's coffin. And I'm gonna cry. I can be super goth and super macabre in the abstract sense, but when it hits too close to my heart, I'm just not down with it. And this palette just makes me sad. And I think that the packaging is clever. I think that it's cute. I think that if I didn't have the life experiences that I've had, I would be drawn to this. But as it is, the palette makes me sad. So I'm gonna hold off on this. But I'm getting the Alien palette. It's finally back in stock. It's in my cart on Beautylish. The only reason that I haven't ordered it yet is because I really am trying to save my money for the Game of Thrones vault. And so let's go ahead and talk about that. Urban Decay, My Face's makeup husband, and Game of Thrones, one of my all-time favorite shows, are coming together to bring us For the Throne. I did a video on this. I will put it up in the corner. See how long it's been since I've done a video? I can't even remember which side it goes on. Anyway, I will link it in the cards. I was proud of that video. I did an outlandish wish list. Basically, I was hoping that they would just suck the fans' dicks and bring us fan servicey shade names, products. I wanted a liquid gold highlighter called A Crown for a King. I wanted a transforming shade called No One. I wanted a red and white marbled highlighter called Jojen Paste. It was ridiculous. We didn't get any of that. The 24/7 Glide-On eye pencils look gorgeous. The lipsticks look pretty. I think I'm even gonna like the Peachy Nude Sansa Stark shade. I know, shocking, but I really do feel like I'm gonna like this. The only complaint I have about the lipsticks is that they have this really deep burgundy shade and they called it White Walker. Why the fuck is that not Melisandre? I mean, come on. All of the other lipsticks are named after strong women from the show. Why is this not Melisandre? Come on. We have two eyeshadow brushes, one called Long Claw and one called Needle. I think that's super cute. I'm not really expecting much from the brushes, but I think that these are cute as collector's items. The one thing that I am the most excited about is the lip and cheek stain called Dracarys. I love lip and cheek stains, and I said that we needed something in this collection called Dracarys, and we got it. So I'm really happy about that. The only thing that I'm a little iffy about is the Mother of Dragons palette. This is a highlighting palette. Urban Decay is really bad about releasing highlighting trios that are not universal. I mean, if you're gonna make highlighting trios, make two different sets. Make one for lighter skin and one for darker skin, because this is not universal. Although I think that I can use the Regal shade as a bronzer, but I think that Regal should have had some green tint to it. And I think that it is butt fucking ridiculous that the Drogon shade is pink. I think that Drogon would be offended if he knew that there was a pink highlighter named after him. Come on, that's just stupid. But I'm just being a nitpicky fan at this point. I think Viserion is appropriate. Of course, Viserion could have been an icy blue. That would have been appropriate too, am I right? But there is one thing that really pisses me off. And it's not directed at Urban Decay. It is directed at Sephora. Sephora put the vault up on their website and they said it would be released on April the 29th. That's fine. I was kind of willing to wait, even though I'm like frothing at the mouth to get my hands on this collection. But when they put this up on the website, they put it up on the website for $195. So that was why I was willing to wait. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll save some money. I actually have $100 Sephora gift card. So I was gonna save a shit ton of money on this collection. And now it's on the website for $250. And there was not a pre-order option. I was thinking, well, there's gonna be a pre-order option. No, there was no way to pre-order. I checked and checked and checked and checked. Maybe I didn't go through the right channels, maybe I'm stupid, but I could not figure out how to pre-order. And so now it's $250 and I'm pissed off at Sephora. So fuck you, Sephora. I'm just gonna spend the extra money and order from Urban Decay because you made me mad. That's not true. I'm going to order from the Urban Decay website as soon as I possibly can because I'm a raging Game of Thrones fan and I can't wait. I don't usually have FOMO, but I do in this case. So that wraps it up for today. As always, thank you so very much for joining me. Throw me a pity like, give me some encouragement to make some more videos. Actually, comment down below. That also gives me encouragement to make some more videos. Are you excited for any of the things that I mentioned today? Have you tried any of the things that I mentioned today? Have you even heard of the RINCON Sugar Rush palette? I want to know. Follow me on Instagram. I will follow you back. Very special shout out to you if you are watching this video on the toilet. And until next time, stay adorably obsessed with makeup.